Hello friends, welcome for new lecture on automobile suspension system. As we all know that hundreds of thousands of people own a car or some sort of motor vehicle around the world. Whether it is a car, a truck or even a motorcycle, every one of them has a suspension system. But the type of suspension system all depends on the type of the vehicle. Besides the normal depend everyday cars, there are many other vehicles types that people like to buy to play around with, such as dirt bikes and go karts. To make the best ride, an independent suspension system is the best choice. There are many different types of independent suspension systems, but the double wishbone or A-arms system and the McPherson strut are the two most popular. Using a double wishbone suspension system is a better choice rather than using the McPherson strut suspension system. In this module, we are going to discuss definition of suspension system, purpose of the suspension system, different types of it and their relative advantages and disadvantages. So these are the major learnings outcomes from this schedule. After the completion of the schedule, you will be able to define the suspension system. You will understand different types of suspension system and their relative advantages and disadvantages. So first we will see what suspension system is. So a suspension system is the term given to the system of springs, shock absorbers and linkages that connects a vehicle to its wheel. It contributes to car's handling and braking. It protects the vehicle itself and any cargo or luggage from damage and wear. The suspension system of a vehicle refers to the group of mechanical components that connects the wheels to the frame or body. A great deal of engineering effort has been gone into the design of suspension systems because of an unending effort to improve vehicle ride and handling along with passengers' safety and comfort. The early automobiles used the one-piece axle designs, but instead of being rotated at the center, it was fixed mounted to the vehicle through springs to provide the cushioning of shock loads from road inaccuracies. The wheels were rotationally mounted at the axle ends to provide steering. The first springs consisted of thin layers of narrow pieces of steel strips stacked together in an elliptical shape and were called leaf springs. In later installations, leaf springs were replaced by coil springs. In front engine, rear drive vehicles, the front beam axle was replaced by independently mounted steerable wheels. The wheels were supported by short upper and lower hinged arms, holding them perpendicular to the road, and as did the previous axle beam designs. A coil spring was used to support either the upper or the lower arm to provide dampening. Shock absorbers began to use to dampen shock loads and also to provide resistance to spring oscillations. Later, it was learned by shortening the upper arm, wheel tilt, that is camber, could be controlled to provide or to prevent edge loading tires while cornering. The power transmitting drive axle in the rear served as the beam type suspension with damping provided by either leaf or coil spring as well as shock absorbers. When front engine front drive passenger cars were introduced, the upper arm was rotated up and replaced by a member called a strut, which contained the concentrically mounted springs and shocks. This arrangement provided additional space for transverse mounted engine or transmission modules and the front drive shaft. This same type of suspensions was also used in the rear of many cars. Trucks continue to be front engine, rear drive vehicles, many of which are using beam type axle suspension system in both the front and rear. So what is the purpose of the suspension system? So your car's suspension system is responsible for smoothing out the ride and keeping the car in control. Specifically, the suspension system maximizes the friction between the tires and the road to provide steering stability and good handling. The suspension system also provides comfort for passengers to limiting the impact of particular road conditions to not only the car but the passengers riding inside. The suspension system is made up of several components including chassis, which holds the cab of the car. The spring supports the vehicle weight and absorb and reduce excessive energy from road shocks, along with the shock absorbers and struts. Finally, the anti-sway bar shifts the movement of the wheels and stabilizes the car. Your car's suspension system must be in good condition. One suspension components may reduce the stability of the vehicle and reduce driver's control, as well as accelerate wear on the other suspension system components. Replacing worn or inadequate shocks and strut will help maintaining good ride control as they control spring and suspension movement, provide consistent handling and braking, prevent premature tire wear, help keep the tires in contact with the road, maintain dynamic wheel alignment, control vehicle bounce, roll, sway, drive and acceleration squat, reduce wear on the vehicle systems, promote even and a balanced tire and brake wear, provides a smooth drive, allow a rapid cornering without extreme body roll, allow front wheels to turn side to side for steering, works with steering system to keep the vehicles in correct alignment. Suspension system is need to isolate passengers and cargo from vibration and shocks. It prevents body drive, that is tilting down at the front when braking, and prevent body squat, that is tilting down at rear when accelerating. So these are the purposes of the suspension system. Next we will see the suspension system's main parts. So first one is control arm. Most vehicles use either one or two control arms per wheel on both the front and rear suspension. Many front wheel drives vehicles you only use a lower control arm, while trucks and SUVs often have both an upper and lower control arm. A control arm connects the wheel hub and steering knuckle to the frame of the vehicle. They are typically equipped with the bushings on the frame of the vehicle and ball joints on the wheel side of the vehicle that allow flex and controlled movement according to the road conditions and steering input from the driver. Control arms allows wheel to move up and down while preventing forward and rearward movement. Next one is steering knuckle. In automotive suspension, a steering knuckle is that part which contains the wheel, hub or spindle and attaches to the suspension and steering components. It is variously called as steering knuckle, spindle, upright or hub as well. The wheel and the tire assembly attached to the hub or spindle of the knuckle, where the tire or wheel rotates while being held in a stable plane of motion by the knuckle or suspension assembly. In the attached figure of a double wishbone suspension, the knuckle is shown attached to the upper control arm at the top and the lower control arm at the bottom. The wheel assembly is shown attached to the knuckle at its center point. Note the arm of the knuckle that sticks out, to which the steering mechanism attaches to turn the knuckle and wheel assembly. Next is ball joints. Because most parts of the suspension must be movable, the various linkages are connected by flexible connections. These includes bushings and bearings, which are connections that allows a small amount of twisting or sliding, often without needing lubrication, and joints, which in automotive applications often use a lubricant such as grease to allow the controlled movement. Some suspension bushings are made of rubber, which can become brittle or break over time, leading to failure. Many joints tend to wear out, leading initially to looseness and eventually to failure. A couple of the most common culprits are tie rod ends, which are lubricated joints that connect certain steering linkage parts, ball joints, which are found in both the steering system and attached to the control arms, and the bushings that separate the control arms from the vehicle's frame. Next part is spring. Every car and truck has some sort of mechanism to absorb large bumps, and this always includes some form of the spring, a metal part that bends in response to force. A few cars over the years, particularly those made by Chrysler, have used torsion bars, metal rods that absorbs impact by twisting instead of bending. instead of coil or leaf spring, but these are the different forms of springs. Springs can sometimes break when the vehicle hits a bump very hard, and many wheels sag eventually after many years, but in general, these parts are much less prone to failure than most other suspension components. Next part is shock absorbers and strut. While springs absorb the bumps, shock absorbers or in cars that have them struts which are similar to shocks dampen the motion of the springs after a bump, keeping the vehicle from bouncing excessively. Shocks and struts are filled with thick oil, and over time the oil can leak out, causing the shock or strut to fail. Impacts and accidents can also cause leakages or can damage delicate internal parts. So there are two different types of main different types of suspension system, which are namely as rigid or non-independent suspension system and flexible or independent suspension system. So we will see one. So this shows the difference between non-independent suspension system and independent suspension system. So what is independent suspension system? So independent suspension is any automobile suspension system that allows each wheel on the same axle to move vertically, that is reacting to a bump on the road independently of the other. This is contrasted with a beam axle or de-Dion axle system in which the wheels are linked. Movement on one side does not affect the wheel on the other side. Independent refers to the motion or path of movement of the wheels or suspension. It is common for the left and right sides of the suspension to be connected with anti-roll bars or such mechanism. The anti-roll bar ties the left and right suspension springs or rates together but does not tie their motion together. Most modern vehicles have independent front suspension. Many vehicles also have independent rear suspensions. Independent rear suspensions, as the name implies, has the rear wheels independently sprung. A fully independent suspension has an independent suspension on all wheels. Some early independent suspension systems used swing axles, but modern systems use Champman or McPherson struts, trailing arms, multi-link or wishbones. Independent suspensions typically offers better ride quality and handling characteristics due to lower unspring weight and the ability of each wheel to address the road undisturbed by activities of the other wheels on the vehicle. Independent suspensions requires additional engineering effort and expense in development versus a beam or live axle arrangement. A very complex independent rear suspension solution can also be result in higher manufacturing cost. The key reason for lower unsprung weight relative to a live axle design is that for driven wheels, the differential unit does not form part of the unsprung elements of the suspension system. Instead, it is either bolted directly to the vehicle's chassis or more commonly to the subframe. The relative movement between the wheels and the differential is achieved through the use of swinging drive shafts connected via universal joints or U joints analogous to the constant velocity joints used in front wheel drives. Next one is non-independent or dependent suspension system, which is also called as rigid suspension system. A dependent suspension system has a solid axle that goes across the width of the frame. It allows the wheels on both the left and the right side to be connected and operate together as a team. If one side of the car bends to a given direction, the other side will follow along because of the dependency. It is on rough terrain that dependent suspension system really earns its worth. They can handle tough conditions and are the primary suspension systems for rear wheel drive automobiles and SUVs. It is the suspension system of choice for any vehicle that is going to be working on harsh topography. So what are the advantages of independent suspension system over rigid suspension systems? So The elastic strain energy per unit spring weight stored in a coil or torsion bar spring is greater than in case of a semi-elliptical leaf spring, which means lighter spring can be used in case of independent suspension. In case of independent suspension, unsprung weight is reduced, which ultimately reduces the tire scrub and hence increases the tire life. Compared to the rigid axle type, softer spring can be used without increasing rolling effect. Soft springs can improve the ride. Improved steering precision since wheel movements are not linked. Gyroscopic action is reduced and the wheel travel path is controlled more accurately. In case of independent suspension, steering geometry is not altered with the spring deflection as in case of conventional rigid axle suspension, where effect is especially noticeable during braking or acceleration. Since in this there is no solid axle beam which required clearance for its vertical movement, the engine and the chassis frame can be placed relatively lower, which means engine position can be moved forward, resulting in more space for passengers. So there are some drawbacks of independent suspension systems. The initial cost is very high. Greater maintenance required because of more number of bearings. Misalignment of steering geometry with the wear of components, thus requiring more frequent attention. In the event of body roll, the wheels camber tilt outwards in case of wishbone type and inwards in case of McPherson strut type, due to which cornering power is reduced. More rigid subframe or chassis frame is required. Forces due to unbalanced wheels are more pronounced and transmitted easily to the steering wheels. So in this module we have discussed various types of suspension system, that is rigid suspension system and independent suspension system. The purpose of suspension system in a vehicle and the main parts of the suspension system. In next modules we will discuss the different types of independent suspension system as well as different types of dependent or rigid suspension system. Thank you.